Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show. On today, where we're doing another amazing series of interviews for our partners at the HBCU Experience for their new book, the HBCU Experience, the Tuskegee University Edition. I've been saying it for the past couple of interviews that we've done. I'm very excited for this. I got my Fort Valley shirt on today because that's my IHBCU, and we real link. We tied in with Tuskegee. I'm gonna keep saying that because there's a lot of reasons why I'm saying that in my research that I've done. Like Fort Valley and Tuskegee very tied in. So we have a lot of amazing folks that we've interviewed. But I'm very excited for tonight because first we have Miss Renita Brooks in the building. Then I have my second interview with Jonice Watts. That's gonna be really fun. But coming up, Miss Renita Brooks making things happen. Like, listen, she's doing her thing as far as entrepreneurship, as far as health, making it happen. I'm super excited to talk to her. Let's go on and bring her up right now. Renita, how you doing today?
Hi. Wow, what an introduction.
I try. Listen, you Tuskegee, I'm Fort Valley. I gotta show out,
What an introduction. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Of course. First, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. It looks like we're lagging a bit, but listen, we're gonna make it do what it do. So I'm super excited to talk to you. So first and foremost, let everyone know, because I did an introduction for you, but I need you to let everyone know who you are.
Yeah, I'm Renita Brooks. I'm originally from North Carolina. I went down to Tuskegee. I was there from the years of 2013 to 2017, not to age myself too much. I'm glad I got the opportunity to attend Tuskegee before COVID. And now I live in Dallas, Texas, where I work as a consultant here. And on the side, I have my side business, Active Physique, where I'm promoting health and wellness. And the main goal there is to help women primarily. I have a focus primarily on women, help them to be healthy, be strong, have nutritious meal plans. As we know, in the African American community, that tends to be a struggle for us. So that's something I'm really, really passionate about.
I love that. So you're from North Carolina, and I'm not gonna lie, I can hear that Southern accent. Listen, we love to hear it. I'm from Georgia, so it's all good. I hear that North Carolina, because North Carolina, Alabama, and Georgia, we all sound different. I'm telling you. And then different parts of Georgia sound different, because somebody is from Atlanta. I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Macon. You know what I'm saying? So you probably can tell I'm not from Atlanta. But listen, I hear the North Carolina in your voice and your swagger. And you went to Tuskegee, so you got to tell me, because you got North Carolina A&T that's in your state. And at that point in time, they're growing. Dr. Martin was doing his thing, but you decided to go to Tuskegee. So tell us why you chose Tuskegee as your HBCU.
So I actually applied to NCAT, and I was there. I applied to FAMU. I was accepted there. But I chose Tuskegee because the reasoning is not some grand reason, but I simply wanted to get out of the state of North Carolina and explore more. And FAMU was so large, I did want to go somewhere a little bit smaller. My mom actually took me down to Tuskegee to tour when I told her that was where I wanted to go. I fell in love with the campus. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Met great people while I was there on tour. And I said, this is the school I wanted to go to. I love the history of our campus. A lot of the infrastructure and architecture there, a lot of the integrity of that was kept over the years because it's considered a historic site. Booker T. Washington is buried there. George Washington Carver is buried there, just to name a few notable people who had impact on the campus. So just the rich history. The campus is absolutely gorgeous. All the red bricks. It just really makes you feel proud to attend a university where it's so well kept aesthetically too. So just simply going down there and feeling the spirit of the campus is what really, really drove my decision to attend Tuskegee.
Listen, you said an operative word that I'm glad you said. You said history, the history of Tuskegee. So listen, like, I have to read this off, because listen, you said history, okay? So I went to Fort Valley, right? You went to Tuskegee. So one of the things I found out in my reading of the history of Fort Valley is that Henry Alexander Hunt who was one of our principals of Fort Valley. He molded Fort Valley High and Industrial School after two schools, Hampton University and Tuskegee. And listen, I showed it to one of my folks that went to Tuskegee. He's a history guy, Kendrick. He was like, I actually didn't know that. I'm like, what? You're a history guy? You went to Tuskegee and you didn't know that? I got me one because he be teaching me all the time. Yeah, people don't know that. See, you said history. I had to bring that up because he's there for Tuskegee. Tuskegee really put on for all HBCUs. Without Tuskegee, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you because Fort Valley was molded after Hampton and Tuskegee. So I love that history element, and I love your reasoning behind going to Tuskegee. So let's really get into your years at Tuskegee. We want to talk about your history because you went at a real good time, like the 2013 to 2017. I went to Fort Valley 2015 to 2019. So you were in college at around the same time as I was. So I know how it was some of those years. So let's start each year. Let's go year by year. So let's start your freshman year. So what was your freshman year like for you?
Oh my God. When I think back to my time, I literally think of how I came in as a girl and left a woman. So even with so much to learn after I left Tuskegee, that is kind of my way to describe my experience there. Coming in as a freshman at around 18 years old, you're just learning and getting used to classes and stuff. And me, I was like someone who liked to go out all the time, and I didn't get up to go to classes. I was kind of one of those. And my GPA dropped so low to like a 2.0 that when I came home for the summer, my parents were like, you are not going back. You just kind of want to play around. So I begged and pleaded them to go back. And they allowed me to return. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I do think they're on the live stream right now. Thank you for allowing me to return. So they allowed me to return, and I quickly got my act together after a year of just kind of just exploring, getting used to the campus, getting used to having independence. And for a small campus, there was a lot to still do. From my perspective, if you like allow the distractions, they're going to be there regardless kind of where you go. But a lot of people think since it's in like a small town, there's nothing to do, but there's plenty to find to do. But I really enjoyed like participating in campus events. We had a ton of like informationals where we would have people come speak to us. We had I think the year maybe Roshan was our president my freshman year, so he had a lot going on at the time. The CAF had just opened, so the year before I got there, the students didn't have access to the student union in the cafeteria that I had access to my freshman year. So that was like a major thing on our campus, was that cafeteria opening. So that allowed for a lot of events to take place in the CAF. So that really created excitement around the university. So that was my freshman year. That was something notable, I would say, happened my freshman year. And then my first homecoming, of course, that was very exciting for me. So if you're on the stream and you don't know, we have a shed that we like to hang out under. So since I was a freshman, that was like, okay, you have to get up at 8:00 in the morning to go to the 12 o'clock game to get a seat under the shed. So my freshman year consisted of me like getting up early in the morning, going to game days with my friends just so we could have a seat under the shed. Of course, as I got older, that was not the case anymore. So those are just like notable moments that I remember from my freshman year.
What's going on, everybody? Randall Barnes with HBCU Pulse here. And did you know that learning actually has a sound? It's true. Listen. You heard that? That's the sound of learning a new language with Babbel. Sometimes learning a language can be overwhelming, especially as a college student. You have to constantly worry about your major subjects, your organizations, eating in the CAF, all these different things. And it's not just that, because if you actually do have a foreign language class, you might need a tutor, and finding a tutor to learn a new language is just as difficult as anything else that you deal with in your college experience. But look no further. Babbel is here to help. Don't pay hundreds of dollars for private tutors or try to track down someone on your campus to help you, or just waste hours on apps that really won't help you either. Babbel's convenient courses help me learn real-life conversations in a different language. It's easy to prep for my trip abroad and learning how to ask for directions because, it's summer, so we're going to be outside, how to order food, how to speak to merchants, how to really have fun when you're out the country. And I don't have to go to these other apps. I don't have to do all these different things because I have Babbel and it is priceless. Plus, they have speech recognition technology, which improves your pronunciation and also your accent. If this sounds good, download Babbel today. Now, here's a special limited time deal for our listeners for HBCU Pulse Radio. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for listeners of our show at babbel.com/HBCU. Get up to 60% off of your Babbel order at babbel.com/HBCU. And that's spelled BABBEL.com/HBCU. Rules and restrictions may apply, and tell them Randall sent you. Hey, listen, I love it. I want to just say that everybody know about the shed. Listen, everybody that knows about HBCU life in general, we've seen the videos. Y'all go viral for the shed all the time. And for me, like the shed was really cool for me because I've not been to Tuskegee yet, but it's dope. Y'all have like something blocking the sun. Cause see, at all the other schools, like we be in the sun. It's 1 o'clock. It's beaming. It's September. It's October. It is beaming. But y'all got to share. Y'all just the dancing. That's why y'all can dance. Y'all not gonna pass out. Like y'all gonna pass out because the sun on us. We there. They score a touchdown. We sitting there like all right, good, go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all had it made. Then y'all's football team was winning too. Like y'all was doing y'all thing. On top of that, you know what I'm saying? Y'all like that. I'll give you that. Y'all like that. Hey, listen, y'all are like that when it comes to football. I'm not
a winning
season. Yeah, I mean, listen, I gotta give y'all that. You know what I'm saying? Even though Fort Valley did beat y'all in the Red Tails Classic in 2021 and 2022. Y'all got the win back. It's all good. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? Gotta say that. All right. But listen, let's talk about your sophomore year. So sophomore year is typically when we get things rolling as far as just the experience. So what was sophomore year like for you?
Sophomore year, again, was like more of the year where I was really focused more on my grades and schoolwork. I did begin to feel more comfortable on the campus. So I saw myself actively participating in more clubs. And that year I changed my major. So I started off as an education major, and then I switched to business because I felt more in line with the classes that we're teaching. And I was actually really inspired by a lot of the seniors and juniors on campus who were in the business house. I saw they were the leaders on campus, in my opinion, the kind of movers and shakers. They were in the business house. And so I was like, I literally was like, I want to be like them. And so shout out to all of them. It's like a bunch of people that come to mind when I think about the business school. And when I got to meet and know those professors, they really pushed me. They really encouraged me. So my sophomore year was mainly me focusing on the academia portion and then my club involvement. So I really spent time focusing on that, working on relationship development with my peers. So I did get more serious more in my sophomore year because I was like, okay, I can't waste time. I can't waste this money that my parents are investing in me. So I have to take this a bit more serious. I still had a great time, but it was definitely more so focused on, putting academics first.
I think that's amazing. So it's interesting because I like to find commonalities in these interviews with the experiences that you all had, right? And I know for me, I was an education major, then I switched to mass communications. And the reason why I was an education major is because of the fact that my mom was like, listen, like the job market is crazy. There's teachers always have work. So I was like, I want to be a mass comm major, but my mom makes a great point. I got to get this money when I graduate, right? So what made you be an education major? Was it the same story, or did you really want to be a teacher?
So my dad is an educator. He attended St. Augustine's University, and he just gave the commencement speech there a few weeks ago. He was their commencement speaker. And so I have education in the background. I grew up in the church. My dad's a pastor. So I just kind of was like, oh, like teachers, that's kind of my calling. I was a tutor, a camp counselor. So I thought that teaching was the route for me. But as I kind of sat through some of the classes, and I hate to say I compared, but I kind of compared myself to my surroundings. I just didn't think I was in line with the education field from the perspective of I just didn't think I had the patience to work with kids. And so I was like, I don't think this is the best route for me, but I love communicating. I love business development, things of that nature. So that became more, I kind of like public speaking. So I thought business would be the best route for me to go down. So as from an education perspective, there were some educational influences there. My sister is an educator now, and so there were some influences there. Even growing up in the church, surrounded by lots of teachers. So I just thought that was what I should be doing.
So let me ask this, because I know, like, for a lot of folks, when it comes to changing majors, it's sometimes a scary process. In a lot of folks coming into college, like your freshman year and even your sophomore year, a lot of folks don't understand that you really are supposed to figure out at that point in time what your path is. Like you like as a sophomore, it's nothing to switch your major, to whatever you're gonna do. Now you're a senior, you're like, oh, I'll switch my major. Like, I don't know about that one now. Like you need to stay where you at and go to grad school. Mm-hmm. But like, did you do it courageously? Like, you know what? Education is not for me. I'm doing business. Or was it like, I'm a little bit nervous, I'm gonna see what this is about, and I'm gonna move over? So like what was your thought process like at that moment?
So I wasn't nervous because, again, like I pretty observant when it comes to maybe behaviors. And I just didn't think my behaviors were in line with educators. So I knew that I had to do something, and I knew that I wasn't interested in, educating our youth. Maybe in the long run, I was like, well, maybe I can be an educator in the future as maybe a professor. I don't have to necessarily work with kids, but right now I need to do something where I'm going to get experience. And I have somewhat of an entrepreneurial spirit in me. And again, I was really, really inspired by the juniors and seniors on campus who were coming out of the business house, and the things that they were doing, the internships that they were having. It was just very interesting to me. And so I followed my interest. And so that's how I came to become a business major at Tuskegee.
So let me ask this. So you keep saying business house. Was it really a house, or is it like a building and you call it a house?
No, I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm so sorry. I feel like that makes me sound kind of country and old.
No, we not old. Listen. I'm around the same age as you. We are not old. Okay, you are not country. Okay, you're Southern. All right, listen, we're not gonna do that. See, folks. Like, listen, because folks be like, oh, like they so country down there. No, we are Southern. Because country, like, listen, I can show some folks country. All right, we are Southern. We're from the South, so no. But it's interesting because I'm envisioning in my mind like the business that's going to this real cool mansion at Tuskegee. Y'all learning just how to make money. You say house, I'm like, okay, the business house. So like I think, like, listen, you keep saying, I think that's dope. All right, so listen, let's talk about junior year. So the business house, you make it happen in the business house, you changed your major. And listen, I know for me, junior year was a really dope time for me because that's when I think things really start to come together for me. So what was junior year like for you?
Junior year was interesting for me because that's when I really started to see some of my peers fall off. which was challenging for me because I felt like a lot of people had fallen off or not been able to continue their education in the way that I was. And so I kind of was like, I have to shift and pivot and build new relationships with folks. And I really started to tap into becoming a leader on the campus, being a mentor to the freshmen and the sophomores. I really began to tap into that. I got involved with, just mentorship programs, being more of a leader in our clubs, holding like some of those, what's the word I'm looking for? Not president positions, but maybe like, I wasn't a treasurer, but because I can't think right now, like more of the other roles that were not like the main leaders. So I found myself stepping into more leadership roles within our clubs, being involved in more volunteer projects. I got involved with our school newspaper. I was involved in like our school, like our class SGA. So things like that began to take place around my junior year. Again, I became more confident in my classes. My relationships were much stronger with my professors, and my classmates who I would go on to graduate with. So now at this time, you're beginning to see some of the same faces in your classes. And I think that's the coolest part because you get to build relationships. I have great relationships with all of those people that, in my graduating class. And so that was kind of the biggest change, I would say, that I experienced going into my junior year. Because during that time, it's like, it's game time. It's going to be time to graduate soon. What does graduation look like? Where am I going to go after this? I didn't have a game plan. So it was time to figure out a game plan for post-graduation. So junior year began to look even more focused on like, okay, we're not really a kid anymore. You've had time to play around. You've had fun. Now we got to figure out how we're going to pay this loan back. So that that became a lot of my junior year.
Listen, pay the loan back is important. See, a lot of folks, they be going crazy in college, but they don't realize that them loans follow you. And I hear some people that they're like, listen, I've forgiven my own loan. How? Like how? You going to jail? Like what the world? Next time they forgiving their loan. Like what the world? You going to jail? Anyway, all right, let's talk about your senior year. So you have all these amazing experiences. You're super involved on campus. So what was senior year like for you?
Senior year was a fun year because I got to be a part of big SGA. I'm putting it in quotes because we all have these little brackets of SGA, but I was in big SGA and I served as our judicial advisor. So a lot more responsibilities came with being a part of big SGA, and as the judicial advisor, I would have to go to all the dorms, explain the rules, especially to the freshmen, like, no, you can't have boys in here, you can't smoke, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I also got to see certain parts of how the business of the university was run from an organizational perspective, because I did get to sit on some judicial cases where my opinion mattered and I had to decide if people should be able to stay in school or if they should be expelled. So that was a big responsibility that came with that. Leadership would ask my thoughts and my opinion. Like I didn't have the power to say then all be all, but they did and solicit my opinion. So that was very interesting to be a part of that decision-making process. Being on SGA, I think what a lot of people sometimes don't understand, and that we get to understand when you're working on things, is SGA planned homecoming. And every SGA class pretty much did it. But you're working with a tight budget. to plan homecoming, and all the artists that you kind of want to come, we can't afford. And you have to decide, well, do we want to expend our whole budget on one artist for one day and the rest of the week we do absolutely nothing? Or do we kind of spread the money out over the entire week? So sitting in those meetings, we would have really, really long financial planning meetings for SGA and for like our spring semester. It wasn't homecoming, but like spring, I can't think of the words, but spring festivities. And then be heavily scrutinized on the plan that we put out by the students. And so that was my first time really like taking good constructive feedback, but saying like, you guys don't know all the back information. You don't know that we didn't get approved for the great cool things we wanted to do, and regulations, and there's rules, and there's compliances, and there's risk management, and there's all these things that are involved with planning this. And I think it was a great opportunity to be exposed to leadership when you have to, again, make the tough decisions that everybody doesn't want to make. Sometimes it's easier to be on the outside looking in and scrutinize, but then when you're actually involved, understand and see the process at hand that takes place into planning these events, definitely a mindset shift. So I would say like my senior year, I had a really great opportunity to be involved in projects that required hard decision making. And so those things have carried me out even till today in some of the roles I've had in corporate, because I work on more of a global scale to think about strategies on how to implement budgets and things of that nature. So then I graduated, of course. I graduated, I had a plan. I followed the plan. I ended up in Indianapolis post-graduation. But a lot of my senior year, I would say the highlight of that was, outside of the academia, was mainly being a part of Student Government Association.
I love that. Listen, I was in SGA as well, and I think you perfectly summarize really the importance of SGA, which is handling business. And also, I guess Tuskegee went through the same things that Fort Valley did around the same time, because folks wanted everybody and they didn't get them. Oh, homecoming is lame. Listen, you can go to Drake's concert, okay? Like you can go over there. We can't get Drake, but listen, you give us a few years, when he loses beef to Kendrick Lamar, he might come for a discount at this point because he lost. Okay, and them tickets, he might be like, you know what? It was $1 million. Now it's 50,000. We need to get back in the good graces of the black people. All right, I'm telling you. All right, but listen, I gotta ask you, because we're gonna talk about active physique, but I gotta put this up because your dad said this, that your articulation is fantastic. All right, HBCU, and I feel like that is real. That is real. Like, listen, we know how to talk at HBCUs. Like, you talk. Is it like that? They out here, they see you. All right, that articulation is fantastic. All right, so I thought that was really cool. I had to put that up there. I had to put that comment up there. But real quick, let's talk about active physique. So tell us how you started your business.
So active physique started during COVID. Actually, no, it started like right during COVID. So when I moved to Dallas, moving to Dallas was great for me because it's my first time being in a big city. So I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, went to Tuskegee University. My first job out of college was in Indianapolis, and then I moved to Dallas. And so Dallas, like, I never gained the freshman 15, but I definitely gained the Texas. Everything is bigger here. The portion, the food, the life, the livelihood. And so I was going out a lot, just really, really enjoying myself. I was working for a really cool company here at the time, and they were feeding us all the time. So I was just like eating a lot. And so I was like, okay, I got to kind of get back into shape. So I started working out really, really hard and really getting into fitness. And so I said, I feel so great. And I'm happy with the way that I look. And there is this internal confidence that started to grow in me. And I said, well, I want every woman to feel like this. I feel powerful. I feel strong. I feel beautiful. I feel healthy. I can walk up the stairs. I'm not out of breath anymore. And so I wanted to share what I was doing with other people. And people kept asking me, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, what is your regimen? What's your routine? And mainly it was just consistency. And it's really challenging to be consistent when you're not seeing results. So my message was to keep going, really. And I was able to share with women mainly via Instagram at the time, and then transition it over to TikTok. My routines, what I was working on, what I was eating. I was doing a variety of activities to stay healthy and fit. And so that is how Active Physique started. It started through people really reaching out to me. And then my first product, I believe, was a fitness plan. And people actually bought it. And I was like, well, I know it was good, but I didn't like sometimes you're like, I don't know if anybody is gonna like really believe in this, or if they're going to be interested in this. But I sold it and it did really, really well. And so I got some more products. I got resistance bands, I got ankle weights, and I put out some more plans, and people really bought it. And so I really have my Tuskegee family to thank for that, because they have been my biggest supporters in that business. They have really driven the business, which I think goes to back to speak on the power of HBCUs. We just have strong support systems, so that they're even supporting you at post graduation. But that is how Active Physique started. It started from my love of fitness. And I ran track in high school, so I've always been a runner. I love running. I had an aunt who was really into fitness. She used to be a fitness instructor. My mom is really into health and wellness. My mom is amazing, by the way. Let me give her a quick shout out. She does like 100-mile bike rides, and she swims, and she plays pickleball, and she tires me out. So I'm trying to keep up with her. But those two women, I would say, really, really inspired me to take my health very seriously. And so that's how Active Physique started, and with the passion for women and supporting other women.
Listen, I can hear the passion for your business. Like I can hear it. Like, but like it's like a different like level of like detail and attention you put into talking about Active Physique. So I think that was amazing. So before we talk about the book, the HBCU Experience, the Tuskegee University Edition, before we get out of here, I want you to give some tips to the young women in college that are making it happen, that are on the go, that are in SGA, that are in all these different organizations. They don't have time to really drop everything and work out. So maybe on the weekends, they might be eating Chick-fil-A. They're not getting the grilled chicken sandwich. They're getting the fried chicken sandwich and the fries and soda. All right. And we all want to get right. We all want to make sure that we're healthy. So what are some tips for young women in college, and even just college students in general, to get and stay healthy?
Well, the fun thing about college is when you're 20, you can do that. You can eat how you want and be just a little bit more fine. But and then as you get older, the metabolism just really starts to slow down. So the goal is to get into healthy habits early. So some of my tips that I love and that I always recommend to everybody: never underestimate the power of just going for a walk. Walks are very, very impactful. 30 minutes, 15 minutes, just intentional movement is something that can really change the course of how you see fitness. And I know a lot of people don't like to really maybe lift or run or do heavy cardio, but walking is really a gentle way to get started. Also stretching, yoga, things of that nature. Again, being intentional about moving, things that aren't gonna like tire you out or make you too sore at first, and then gradually build. A lot of times we start really hard and we want to do a marathon without training and doing the 5K first. So you just have to take it literally one step at a time. Try and get your 10,000 steps in, things like that. Another thing I recommend when it comes to health and wellness, swapping out like your drinks for water. So if you are someone who loves soda and you may drink, let's say, 5 sodas a day, try doing 2 sodas a day or 3 sodas a day and swapping that out for water. Those are great ways to just like shed the pounds very, very quickly, because that sweeteners you add to your diet, and lack of movement is kind of what makes the weight stick. Other things I would recommend is don't beat yourself up if you're not seeing results, especially for women, because our bodies are designed to carry children. Our bodies hold weight a little bit more and hold fat, because when you're about to have a baby, the baby needs somewhere to go, it needs somewhere to feed. So women, our bodies tend to hold fat a lot more than a man's body. So definitely don't compare your progress to anybody. Definitely don't compare your progress to your boyfriend or your husband or your spouse, because men just lose weight faster because your bodies aren't as designed to hold the kind of weight that our bodies are designed to hold. But things like that, don't compare, don't beat yourself up. Don't stay tied to the scale too much. I think those are great ways to start off. But walking and swapping out drinks for water are my main 2 pieces of advice that I always recommend people start with, especially if you're having challenges.
Hey, listen, I'm taking mental notes right now because I'm trying to get right too. I'm trying to like I said, listen, before like I get, if I'm blessed to get real old, we gonna get a little bit out of shape. It's gonna be harder when you get older, but like listen, but like at least one point in time between 20s and the 30s, I need to be swole. Listen, I'm just gonna be. I'm gonna be swole. I don't need to be too swole. I don't need to be like steroid swole. I need to be cut. Like where it's like, yeah, don't mess with me. You know what I'm saying?
You can do it.
Listen, I'm gonna switch out. I don't drink soda. I'm gonna switch out that juice just for some water. I drink water anyway. Listen, we gonna do that. I got my Apple Watch. I'm gonna be walking. And when I'm 30, I'm gonna be like this. So when next dish come out, you ever with me again? Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be in there like that. All right. But listen, real quick before we go, let's talk about your chapter in the book, the HBCU Experience, the Tuskegee University Edition. So real quick, like tell us about what your chapter is about. Like don't say too much, but give us a little snippet of what to expect.
So my chapter is a lot about kind of things that we discussed today. It goes into more detail about my experience at Tuskegee and how that experience led to my entrepreneurial endeavors with Active Physique. And so it's really mainly focused on that. I thought it was important to be a part of this book because I think that documenting your legacy is just so cool. And I say that in a way that, like, I'm an avid reader. So if someone has the opportunity to pick up this book, they'll say, wow, Renita Brooks went to Tuskegee and this is who she was. And this is how her Tuskegee experience led to her success. So you'll hear me talk about a lot of those things within the book.
I love it. I love it. Listen, this is an amazing interview. You're doing a lot of great things. Listen, I'm proud of you. Like
Thank
you're making
you.
it happen. You did your thing at Tuskegee. You're doing your thing with fitness and getting folks right. All right. So I need you to let everybody know where we can find you on social media and also how we can support you.
Yes, y'all can find me. The best way to support me and find me is following me on Instagram at active_physique. That's active_physique. That is the best way to find and support me and keep up with everything I'm doing. And that's on Instagram.
I love it. I love it. Well, Renita, listen, we're excited to read your chapter in the book. Listen, we're excited to go out there, switch out our juice for some water. All right.
Yes.
And I'll tell him when she do that second edition, like you gonna come here, we'll be like, this the same dude. Like what the world, you know what I'm saying? So we gonna make it happen. We gonna see what's going on. But Renita, thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.